Good morning, good day, good evening, wherever you are logging in to watch this presentation. This is an in-depth cybersecurity presentation by Centrify, and I am Folua Ultra Rewan E. And today, we will explore key aspects of cybersecurity, including threats, best practices, tools, compliance, and emerging trends. Let's begin with a broad overview of this field, which has become one of the most critical aspects of our digital lives. Cybersecurity has evolved significantly over the years. In the early days, the main focus was simply preventing viruses from infecting systems. But today, it's much more complex. It's about protecting everything from personal data to critical infrastructure. At its core, cybersecurity is based on three main principles: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. This is known as the CIA triad. Confidentiality ensures that information is not accessed by unauthorized individuals. Integrity ensures that data remains accurate and unaltered. And availability means that data is accessible to authorized users when needed. Now let's take a look at the global landscape of cybersecurity. Every year, there are billions of cyber attacks worldwide, from data breaches to ransomware attacks. It's estimated that the cost of cybercrime will reach over $10 trillion by 2025. As we can see, these statistics underscore how deeply cybersecurity impacts businesses, governments, and individuals alike. When we talk about cybersecurity today, it's not just about IT, it's a business imperative. We're looking at everything from network security to application security and information security. And let's not forget the importance of operational security. It's all about ensuring that both the people and processes involved in managing data are secure. I'd love to hear from you all. What do you think is the most important aspect of cybersecurity? Feel free to share your thoughts, and I'll give some examples based on what you mention. Fantastic. Now let's move to the next slide, where we will explore why cybersecurity matters so much, especially in today's digital world. Why cybersecurity matters. Cybersecurity is not just an IT issue, it's a business risk that can affect your bottom line. Let's look back at the evolution of cyber threats. In the early days of the internet, cybersecurity was mainly about protecting from viruses and worms. But today, we're facing more advanced and complex attacks, such as ransomware, phishing, and advanced persistent threats, or APTs. These threats don't just come from random sources, they are highly targeted and often involve sophisticated tactics. Take, for example, the Equifax breach, where the personal data of over 147 million people was stolen, or the SolarWinds attack, which compromised high-level government networks. These types of incidents show us that even the most secure systems can be vulnerable. Now let's talk about why cybersecurity is critical for businesses. Cyber attacks can result in financial loss, a damaged reputation, and loss of customer trust. A data breach can cost an organization millions of dollars, both in immediate expenses and long-term reputation damage. I'm curious, what do you see as your organization's biggest cybersecurity risk? Let's take a moment to discuss it. Great insights. Now let's dive into the current threats organizations are facing today. On the next slide, we'll explore some of the key cyber risks you need to be aware of. Current cybersecurity threats. Now that we've laid the groundwork, let's dive into the specific threats that are most prevalent today. The first and perhaps most widespread threat is phishing. These attacks trick users into revealing personal information or clicking on malicious links. For instance, attackers may send an email pretending to be from a trusted source, like a bank, asking for login credentials. It's one of the easiest ways for cybercriminals to get into your systems. Another growing threat is ransomware. Here, attackers encrypt your files and demand a ransom in exchange for the decryption key. Some of you may have heard of WannaCry or NotPetya, two major ransomware attacks that disrupted industries worldwide. These attacks are a prime example of how a simple mistake can lead to devastating financial and operational losses. Additionally, we have data breaches. These occur when hackers gain unauthorized access to sensitive information. Whether it's credit card details, health records, or corporate data, the impact can be severe. Breaches are often the result of poor security practices or vulnerabilities that were left unpatched. Let's have a quick poll. What do you think is the most dangerous cybersecurity threat in today's environment? Ransomware, phishing, or data breaches? You can use your devices to vote now. Great responses. We'll now continue discussing ways we can safeguard against these threats in the next section. Let's talk about best practices in cybersecurity. Best practices for cybersecurity. Now that we've seen the threats, let's focus on how to protect ourselves. Here are some of the best practices that should be implemented across the board. First, let's talk about password security. A strong password is the first line of defense against unauthorized access. However, passwords alone aren't enough. That's why multi-factor authentication, or MFA, is a must. It adds an extra layer of protection by requiring users to provide 2 or more verification factors. Next up is regular software updates. Outdated software is often an entry point for hackers. For instance, the Equifax breach was largely caused by an unpatched vulnerability in Apache Struts. Always ensure your systems and software are updated to minimize vulnerabilities. One of the biggest threats is human error, which is why employee awareness training is crucial. Regular training on phishing, password security, and incident reporting can go a long way in protecting your organization. How many of you have experienced an issue because of a weak password or outdated software? Feel free to share your experiences. Thanks for sharing. As we continue, let's look at the tools and technologies available to help you secure your digital assets. In the next slide, we'll dive into the cybersecurity tools you should consider. Now, let's talk about the tools that can help safeguard your data and network. One of the most basic yet essential tools is a firewall. Firewalls help block unauthorized access to your network while allowing trusted communication. You can have network firewalls or host-based firewalls that monitor and control incoming and outgoing traffic. Antivirus software and endpoint protection are also critical. They help protect individual devices by detecting malware and suspicious activities. These tools have evolved into endpoint detection and response, or EDR systems, which provide advanced threat detection and automated response capabilities. Then, we have encryption. This is essential for protecting sensitive data, whether it's stored on a hard drive or in transit. Encryption converts data into an unreadable format, which can only be decrypted with a specific key. Finally, don't forget about backups. Adopting the 3-2-1 rule 3 copies of data, 2 on different media, and 1 off-site, will ensure that you can recover your data in the event of an attack. Let's take a quick poll. Which of these tools does your organization rely on most? Firewalls, antivirus software, or encryption? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for your responses. Next, we'll look at how your employees play a critical role in keeping your organization secure. The role of employees in cybersecurity. We've covered tools and practices, but the biggest variable in any cybersecurity strategy is the human factor. Employees are often the weakest link in the security chain. This is why employee training and awareness are so important. Social engineering attacks, like phishing, rely on exploiting human behavior. It's not enough to have the best security tools in place if your employees don't know how to spot a suspicious email or handle sensitive data securely. Training programs should cover topics like phishing awareness, password hygiene, and incident response. You also want to create a cybersecurity culture where security is seen as everyone's responsibility. In some organizations, we've seen success with cybersecurity champions, employees who take an active role in promoting security awareness and helping their peers. I'd love to hear if your organization has any cybersecurity champions or specific training initiatives in place. What works well, and what are the challenges? Great discussion. Now, let's move on to the next section, data privacy and compliance. Data privacy and compliance. Data privacy and compliance have become more important than ever. Regulations like GDPR and CCPA place strict requirements on organizations regarding the collection and protection of personal data. GDPR, for example, mandates that companies must obtain explicit consent before collecting personal data and ensures that individuals have the right to access and delete their data. Violations can result in hefty fines, up to 20 million euros or 4% of global annual turnover. Similarly, CCPA protects California residents' privacy rights and imposes requirements on businesses about the sale and use of personal data. Other regulations like HIPAA for healthcare and PCI-DSS for payment card information follow similar principles. How many of you are familiar with these privacy regulations in your organization? What steps has your organization taken to ensure compliance? Thank you for sharing. Let's move on to discuss how to effectively respond to incidents, with a focus on creating an incident response plan. Incident response plan. Even with the best prevention measures, incidents can still happen. That's why having a well-defined incident response plan, IRP, is essential. An incident response plan should have clear steps for detecting, containing, and recovering from a cyber attack. It's essential to detect incidents quickly. This can be done through monitoring tools like SIEM and intrusion detection systems. Once an incident is detected, the next step is containment. This involves isolating the affected systems to prevent further damage. After containment, it's time for eradication, removing the malware or attack vectors. Finally, the recovery phase focuses on getting systems back online while minimizing disruption. After the recovery phase, organizations should conduct a post-mortem analysis to understand what happened, what went well, and what can be improved. Have any of you participated in an incident response tabletop exercise? If so, what was your experience, and how did it help? Thanks for sharing your experiences. Let's move on to some exciting cybersecurity trends we're seeing today. Cybersecurity trends. The world of cybersecurity is constantly evolving, and staying ahead of trends is crucial. Let's take a look at some key trends shaping the future of cybersecurity. One of the most exciting developments is AI and machine learning. These technologies are being used to predict and identify threats before they happen. For instance, AI can analyze patterns in network traffic to detect anomalies that indicate a cyber attack. Another emerging trend is zero trust architecture. This model assumes that no one, inside or outside the organization, should be trusted by default. It requires strict verification at every stage, no matter the source of the request. We're also seeing increased use of blockchain technology for cybersecurity. It's being used to create decentralized systems for verifying identity and ensuring data integrity. Which of these trends do you find most interesting or relevant to your work? Let's discuss. Great thoughts. Let's wrap things up with a final review and thank you. Thank you all for your time and attention today. We've covered a lot of ground, from understanding why cybersecurity matters to exploring the latest trends and best practices. To recap, component placement cybersecurity is not a one-time effort. It's a continuous process of protecting your data, systems, and people. By staying vigilant and implementing robust cybersecurity measures, you can help protect your organization from evolving threats. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me after the session. Thank you for joining us today for this in-depth cybersecurity presentation. Remember, the first step to protecting your digital future is awareness. Stay vigilant, stay proactive, and don't wait for an attack to take action. If you'd like to learn more or work with Centrify to enhance your cybersecurity posture, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are here to help you secure your systems, protect your data, and build a safer digital environment for everyone. Email me at folua.rewain@centrify.com. Visit us at centrify.com. Call me directly 647-781-5043. Thank you again for joining, and I hope you walk away with valuable insights that will help strengthen your cybersecurity posture.